Think a piece of pizza.
You're good to go.
Okay, ready? You guys ready? Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, it is podcast time. Welcome to Wine Crush. We are in downtown beautiful McMinnville in my little living room here. And a couple things today. He's an okay guy. He's okay guy.
Yeah.
And we are on Instagram Live for the first time this time, so you can actually watch what we're doing here live and then on YouTube, and then also listen to it on audio. But welcoming to the program today is the man that has made me feel the shortest in my entire life, Channing Frye.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I wore high heels today.
I see it.
Yes,
I see
just
it.
to see if I can get a little bit of height and not feel like such a
It
shrimp.
wouldn't help.
It
I'm
wouldn't
7
help.
feet tall.
I do have a step stool that I'm
would
going
help.
to utilize later for photos.
I could deal with that.
Yeah.
You know what's the
Maybe a
weirdest
table.
thing is my height is literally listed all over the internet, and people walk up to me and go, "Oh, I didn't think you were that tall," and I go, "What do you think 7 foot looks like?" And I think it's just funny that people say that. I don't know any other tall person that gets told, "Oh, I didn't know you were that big."
I don't think people are normally around people that are 7 feet tall very often. And so when you do come across someone who is 7 feet tall, you're like, okay, that's
a big
real.
Dude. Now imagine 9 other dudes who are that tall running around trying to shoot a basketball.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be intimidating on every level possible.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not short and not super petite. So, but I think I'd still get run over.
You're perfect in God's eyes.
There we go. Thanks, Sharon. That was so nice.
You're welcome.
Okay. You and I met a month or so ago and kind of did
Time flies.
our pre-podcast bullshit session, I guess, is really kind of what I categorized it at. And we totally lived up to every bit of what that was, because we talked about zero wine. We talked really very little about your story, and we talked about everything else on the planet that day. I mean, we talked hair for your kids.
Oh, we
talked a little bit of basketball. I found out
boats.
Yeah, we talked about boats.
That place you live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and the fact that you are a chicken.
A chicken.
And
I'm not going out.
I probably should never invite.
A gun for bears. No. No, I'm good. We go to Ritz. We're chilling.
Yeah, so the whole idea of inviting Channing Frye out to the middle of nowhere into BFE to just, it's not even camping. There's a lodge, like there's a house for you to stay in, and it's a no.
No.
Now your wife, she's game.
Oh, she's super game.
Yeah, we're going to leave on the dock.
Man, leave me on the dock. I'm an Aperol Spritz guy at this point. There's no reason in fighting bears. I'm the biggest. It's going to come after me. I know
you just need to run the fastest.
Yeah. My conditioning is below par at this point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can just outpace me by walking. So, it's all good. Okay, let's get into the story. Let's get into chosen family. I always like to hear and figure out where people started and why they started down this journey. And I'm so intrigued because of a lot of different reasons, but we'll get kind of down there because the whole NBA thing is like right smack dab in the middle of it. But you grew up in Arizona.
Grew up in Arizona.
Yeah. Mom and dad, desert, was it Phoenix?
Chandler, but yeah.
Okay.
We'll just say Phoenix. It's a greater Phoenix area.
One of the burbs of the big city.
Well, it was more farm town. So it was like the Wilsonville to Portland.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Was wine a thing?
Hell
growing
no.
up?
No, God, no. I remember my dad had a bottle of like Merlot above the. Now Merlot's delicious, so don't judge.
Don't judge the Merlot. This is not a sideways conversation.
No, it's not. Above the refrigerator, and that thing sat there for years until he re-gifted it away to somebody else. But he was. The house was like beer and tequila, like blended margaritas. I remember my mom, when her friends came over, that blender was going crazy, and my dad was crushing beers and like vodka drinks. Wine was just not even a thing. Both my parents were from Brooklyn, New York, so it's like wine really wasn't a thing back then. And then, I made it to the NBA, got drafted by the Knicks, was there 2 years, got traded here for Zach Randolph, which is great. And now that I look back, he was a great all-star, great player, good dude. And I met my wife the first day I moved here through a friend from college.
We're going to get into that story because I'm going to ask all the questions because you spilled all the beans when we were talking and drinking wine. Let's go back. Because where did this whole idea with wine start with you? Like, was it the fine dining in New York? Was it drinking the hooch in college and you started like,
oh man,
I mean, where did it start?
Dude, I definitely slapped my fair share of bags in college. Hit that Franzi up, that chillable red.
I have never heard it called that or put that way. Slapping the bags.
Yeah, slapped the bag a couple times. The headaches were monumental. But no, I mean, even in college, I went to U of A, so I'm from Arizona. So it was like tequila, Jack Daniels, and cheap beer, and that was the thing. Wine didn't become a thing even that I really would drink until my rookie year in New York. When you go out to a nice dinner with other business people, I'm 22, 23, they're ordering wine for the table. So I'm like, ooh, what's this? And then I'm trying to, it's so daunting. I'm like, okay, what's the most expensive wine on the menu? Here, we'll get that. And I love wine. I liked it. I liked it. I didn't know if I loved it because it was just like reading Pig Latin.
It's so overwhelming. I mean, even to me now, I know more about wine than I did, 5 years, 10 years ago, whatever. And people hand me the list and I will ask for the somm.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to talk to the somm because I want to tell them what I like and they can pick it. And please don't be the most expensive thing on the menu because I just don't even think that's always the best wine.
Right. No, definitely. I would say unless it's something specific, like I think in New York, certain places like Aldo Salm's Wine Bar, you could get something that's crazy expensive that is like perfect. Vegas has great places to drink. LA has great places. But for the most part, bang for your buck, what I found is like Spain. I'm almost going to say like if somebody has Australia or German or like one of the off places, if they really know wine, then you're going to get your best bang for your buck there. But no offense to Napa, but those get big time 4X. A lot of Oregon Pinot Noirs, like some of our stuff, that's $30 is 120 some places where I'm like, damn, like you're killing. That's not, we made it 30 for a reason so that people can drink it and enjoy it. It's accessible, right? And so obviously there's a business part, distribution, the restaurant needs to make money, and I totally get that. But it's also like, as a consumer, as a big time consumer, I'm also like, man, I wish I could buy this wine, but I'm going to drink 4 of those. I can't drink $400 bottles of wine. So you got to go learn. And that's kind of what we did and what I did and what people on our Chosen did. And we just learned through drinking.
It's, when I saw that your brand came out and that you were making wine and CJ was making wine and Carmela was into wine and these MBA.
D-Wade.
Yeah. All of you guys kind of had your little MBA, like a little wine club, that the media was just kind of like circling like sharks around. I'm like, I guess I would have never thought of these professional athletes really being into wine. I just assumed partying and cocktailing and, and beer and, whatever. But wine was such a back burner thing for me up until I started doing this, 8-9 years ago, whatever. And I'm like, oh, this totally makes sense. They're going out to nice restaurants. They are, you don't have to slam back the blended margaritas and the shooters and whatever else. I mean, there is this fine dining side, and it was so naive of me to not even really think that was a thing. And then I'm like, okay, this all makes sense why you guys are doing this. You've been exposed to so much through your careers, through business meetings, through whatever. Okay, this is making some sense. And it should have made sense from the beginning. And it's just me being stupid. But I also, Mom drank a bottle of Pink Behringer when I think she was pissed off at my sister and I. And so wine was not really part of our household.
Mom's like, damn, I'm over here catching strays.
I used her as an example before.
Okay. Okay.
And my uncle made wine, and I don't even know what he made it out of. His daughter told me it was cucumbers and carrots and stuff. I think that was BS. But she said it was swill. But they got drunk on it all the time. Not my mom necessarily, but my grandparents and them partied it up all the time. There was always a case of red and a case of white. So I just didn't get it.
Yeah.
And now I'm understanding it. And so I see why this has become kind of your path.
Yeah, I think, so Pop, and he retired today, had a huge influence. Pop is from Nevada, Napa Valley, grew up around wine. There's, stories about how Pop around the country, each place that they would go would take his staff to dinner. He'd have $10,000-$15,000 bills because he would just keep ordering wine, and he would send them a list of like the wines that he would want for the dinner. Excuse me. And So then it became like, I don't want to say acceptable, as Pop's coaches started going to different places. Like, a coach has a glass of wine, a player has a glass of wine. Then it became, oh, what's after the game? A player has a bottle of wine. He's still watching film. You have a bottle of Jack Daniels or Grey Goose. Shirts coming off, dudes are falling all over the place. Then it's ruining what you're doing the next day. Now, obviously, excess applies to everything. But like even on our team, we'd bring a case of wine at one point for a 3-hour trip. And then just when we're done with the wine, the air hostesses would take it, or we just bring it with us. We'd have a rookie bring it with us, and we'd drink it at dinner.
It's always the rookie.
Always the rookie. They got to keep a backpack
mule?
for a reason. Yeah,
Yes.
Oh yeah, keep a backpack for a reason. But for us, it was also like a connection thing on Cleveland, especially. It was a connection thing because LeBron's cellar is crazy. Kevin Love's cellar is crazy. Tristan has crazy wine. I think that I have pretty solid wrangle on some wine, and Kyrie, and so I'm naming big name players, but they all have their own tastes. And so for us, it was like, oh, why do you like this? Or I have never seen that bottle before. And someone would go, oh yeah, I went to Bordeaux and they only made this one year and I was there that year. And so now we're talking about stuff that's not basketball and we're learning about each other. And so, these playoffs have been amazing and they're only going to get harder because the better teams have better chemistry. Like the teams that have gone through more, the teams that know each other more can talk to each other more freely, where the younger teams are still kind of figuring out, if you don't do right, can I yell at you? If you're not making the right play, is this as important? And so bless you. Was that a cough?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you snot rocketed.
No, it's a.
Dang, if it's that bad, girl, let me know.
I know. Why bringing? Speaking of swill, no, just kidding.
Dang, dude. I brought you that.
Yowza. Okay. That was wine down the wrong side. Sorry, and I'm going to put that there.
No,
so
you're all right.
For a while.
You're all right. But yeah, anyways, it just it became part of our team. It became part of, like, by the end, it was like, we're divvying out bottles. Coaches, they got to watch a lot of film. They're tough schedules, so they're getting a bottle or two. The media team gets a bottle or two. Like whoever else is flying on a plane, the stewardesses. I don't think you call them that anymore, but the air hostess is what I call them.
Whatever
the name is, right? And then they'll get a bottle, say thank you to the pilot and the crew getting us there safely, and then us as a team. And so, even up until the night before we won a championship, everyone has these nerves, and we're like, let's just go down to the lobby, grab a bottle or two. So there's 10 of us down there having a bottle or two before Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals, just talking about what we're going to do, still watching film, like talking about what the season has meant to everybody. And so, for me, why I got into wine even more, why I wanted to get in the industry instead of just kind of being a fan, was that camaraderie. I wanted to be a part of that and share that artist, share that, liquid memory, basically.
It's, I've said it before, but there's something that is different when you pull out a bottle of wine and the conversations and the stories and the connections that you make with people versus pulling out that bottle of Jack Daniels, because you're usually there to get schmammered and get your buzz on, whereas wine is a great drunk. Like if I'm going to get drunk, I'd much rather,
for sure.
Yeah,
for
totally
sure.
kill it on wine, good wine, because bad wine, terrible hangovers.
The hangovers are next level.
They are. They're not good.
No.
But I notice it with my husband and I. Like when we open a bottle of wine, we'll sit down and it brings out a completely different energy, a completely different level of conversation that you don't get with a beer. Or you don't get with, a cocktail, and
right.
Maybe you do eventually, but then I'm asleep because I'm,
right.
mostly trashed at that point in time, where that wine is a nice slow build. This is not a PSA for getting drunk on a bottle
totally
of wine,
not.
but
right.
it's just a completely different way of communicating and connecting with somebody.
Right.
And I think it's because there's so much passion and story and personality that's put on each bottle that, I don't know, it's just different. I've noticed
it is different. It is different. I think, obviously there's, niche things when it comes to like bourbon or whiskey. Like somebody who's really into it, I could sit and sip with them, like the little sipper. I could sit with them and they could talk me through all this. Or people who are really into beers, IPAs, right? We live in Portland, so, obviously IPAs.
Love me a good IPA.
Of course. But you're not crushing 20 of them.
I'm crushing one and maybe 1.5 at this point in time.
It's just tough.
They're a little heavy, and they just don't like me near as well as the wine does.
Here's a funny story about my wife has, since I retired 6 years, she has 3 sisters, four technically, just, 2 families. When they have sister night. They had sister night every Thursday, used to be Tuesdays. They would bring a bottle of wine over. And so they used to just, when they were a little younger, just go to the grocery store and go pick a bottle of wine. And then they bring it over as they cook dinner and all the sisters get together, whatever. And I'd look and I'd be like, oh, thanks, girls. And then like hide it and then go down to my cellar and go bring up the good stuff, right? And they're like, well, where's ours? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And, joke with them like, I don't know if that was that good. And they were like, you know what? You're right. Over the years, they've now gotten really good for what they like. So they're bringing over stuff that I wouldn't necessarily get, but I'm now like, ooh, that was good. Like last night they brought over like, I think an aligote.
Oh.
And so I'm like, what the hell do y'all know about aligotes? And they were like, well, we talked to the person and this is what we like and boom. And I was like, damn. And they go, you don't get any because you used to throw our bottles away, And so that means a lot to me. And I think it means a lot, you're talking about wine is, when I was thinking about coming over here, right, and I looked at all the wines, I went to my wine cellar, and I was just staring at it, and I was like, what would be fun to talk about? Like, what would be fun? What do you think? What's exciting for me? And it's a very unselfish thing because I'm thinking about what would you like? What would be right for the moment? What would be right to talk about? Or like, what can we engage with? Like, it's a bridge between a group of people, right? And, when you look at it like that, it means a lot more when somebody goes to a wine shop. Whether the wine is good or bad, it doesn't matter. If the person goes to a wine shop and says, hey, Channing, I know that you like Northern Rhone stuff. I've had one before, so I got this. It's only $30. And I go, I don't give a crap. If it was $10, you thought about me. Here we go. Let's try it. And even if it's not good, I don't care. We'll find something that's good. There's plenty of wines out there. But if it's great, now we have that memory, and now we're going to keep buying that bottle. And every time I see it, I'm going to think of my boy or my friend who thought about me. And it's just, again, it's like liquid memories.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. I want to circle back to your career.
Right.
So you went to New York.
Yeah.
So let's talk about New York because you went to Portland next,
right.
Correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and that's where all the lovey-dovey stuff happened.
Yeah.
And your lesson on dressing properly for the Northwest.
Yeah. But, dude, God.
So, I mean, I would
flannels.
I would think that being drafted to New York, no matter where the Knicks were, as being at the top of the echelon, really playing good, or kind of been where they've been in the in the somewhat recent past with rebuilding, that New York's exciting.
New York is too exciting.
Yes,
I love New York. If I didn't live in Portland, I would live in New York. I
love New York.
My family's from New York. I just was in New York for a week for working, and I brought my kids out there, and we woke up, obviously West Coast time. I work late. They stayed up with me, and I go, what do you guys want to eat? And they were like 2:00 in the afternoon. They were like, we still kind of want breakfast. I go, okay. Walk 2 blocks, go have some of the best French toast and eggs and bacon. It's just like, they're like, okay, let's go watch Central Park. And it's a nice day like this today, and there's hundreds of thousands of people there, and we're just people watching, people playing volleyball. Then, it's like we have buddies who are chefs, so they were like, okay, let's go to Brooklyn. So now we're walking around Red Hook, Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and it's a whole different vibe, whole different feel, and the diversity, the food,
so good for
the speed, and the fact that I could just get up and walk or get in an Uber and go where I want. That, I think that more people need to see that. More people need to experience that. And if the noise bothers you, put on headphones. That's what I do sometimes. And I'll just go walk for 2 hours. I'll walk 6 to 10 miles, just up and walk around. If I get hungry, stop in somewhere, eat, walk while I eat.
There's amazing food in New York.
It's the best.
We stayed in Manhattan last year for a week. and just to get up and go get bagels and schmear, like right down the street.
It's crazy.
Best freaking thing ever.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best.
So good.
It's
Great cup of coffee.
It's adult Vegas.
Yeah.
It's what Vegas should be, which New York is. But yeah, we were bad. We were a bad team. I wasn't very mature about the situation. It was just a lot of turmoil. I didn't really realize how hard it is to win in the league yet. I still talk to Isaiah Thomas, who was my GM at the time, my coach my second year. The league was changing. I was second in Rookie of the Year. My first year got hurt. Somebody ran into my knee. Didn't really take rehab that serious. Started to deal with some things family-wise, and it just kind of threw me off. And so Zeke, Isaiah Thomas, like old Pistons, Isaiah Thomas, traded me that summer and was like, hey, I didn't want to trade you, but one, we need to start winning. We need an all-star. And two, this is going to put you in a place where Nate McMinnville is going to give you structure. You're going to get a chance to play. You're going to be with a younger team, and it's going to be slower. It's going to be a slower pace of life, which is better for you because New York has sped you up, which is you're not going to last. Like, nobody beats New York, right? Like, no, you're not going to.
There's a lot of history to
There's a lot of history,
right.
And so, I was sad that I was leaving, but I was also like, damn, do I need this? And so when I was on a plane after I got traded, I was like, you know what? I got to get my career back in order because I had a bad year my second year, iffy bad year. And then when I got to the Blazers, it was night and day. That's when, obviously Brandon Roy was here, LaMarcus Aldridge, some vets, some guys that really showed me, what it was like to come to a gym every single day to work and to be a part of, a new young team going to the playoffs. And then the city just kind of absorbed me, and 17, 18 years later,
You're still here.
Ugh, yeah.
So let's talk about that first night because it cracked me up. And then your wife walked in when we were chit-chatting, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I get all of it now. Okay, so going out with friends, correct?
Yeah. So I had a best friend in college, Raleigh. Shout out Raleigh Stam. And Raleigh and I met because the basketball team would sometimes go on these sorority parties, right? Where it was everyone has to dress up. And so my team, her sorority, all got on a bus with frats, and we went somewhere and just partied our face off. And I remember I'm just standing in the back, and she elbows me. It's like, are you not drinking? And I go, no, I'm all right. She goes, oh, my gosh, you're weak, and then hands me a beer. And I'm like, ew, beer. I wasn't drinking beer at the time. I was like, dude, I'll do some shots with you. And she was like, I'm not doing that. I drink this. And so we ended up having the same kind of friends, and we just became best friends. She became like a little sister, or maybe I'm the little brother. I can't tell. We can't tell anymore. So we just stayed friends throughout college, where it was just she got in trouble with her sorority and lived with us for 6 months and lived in our spare bedroom. And I remember she put 2 cases of beer in the fridge. This is my sophomore year, in our fridge, and it stayed there for 3 months. And she was like, are you guys not going to touch these? This is my thank you. We're like, we don't drink beer. But neither here nor there. So I got traded. The moment I got traded, my phone, obviously parents, Raleigh called and was like, here we go. You're back with us. You're up here in Portland. And I was like, all right, I'll be there on Tuesday. And I said, I don't know anybody but you, so just bring whatever friends. She was like, Channing, it's Tuesday. People have jobs. I said, man, Raleigh, you got some hobo friends. Come on. You got friends that will go out. I'll buy dinner. So she said, all right, I'm going to bring some friends. So she ended up bringing her brother and then now my wife. And so I go, oh, she's pretty cute. But I thought she was her brother's girl. So I go, the night goes on, whatever. And I'm like, man, this girl's kind of flirty, but that's kind of weird because this is Eddie's girlfriend. So I go, Eddie, how long you been dating? He goes, Lauren? No, I'm not dating her. So I go, okay, what's up? Not like that.
A little bit of an angle change.
A little angle change. I hit a quick left. And, somebody left. Anyways.
That was your peanut gallery outside.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. And basically, I didn't have anything to do other than work out. I didn't have a car. And I was like, hey, after I go work out, do you want to hang out again? And literally we hung out every single day for 7 months until I had to go do something for the Team USA. So that settled me down. Parents met her pretty quickly.
I think you said your dad approved after like a 7-hour walk.
4.5 hour walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, I just want to take Lauren out to lunch. And it was like 11, 3:45. He like gives her a big hug. And I go, where'd y'all go? Fly to Phoenix and back? Like, what's going on? And he was like, no, she's good. And I guess they went all the way up OHSU, walked all the way down, around. Like, I've never seen that man walk that much in my life. But no, it was good. And I think not only that part, but then she was the one that was like, hey, let's go wine tasting as a date. And I go, wine tasting? What is that? What does that even look like? Then she took me to like Bergstrom and Christum and Domaine Drouin and all these other places, and my mind was blown. And that's when I was like, this wine tasting thing is all I want to do. So every
it's
summer,
pretty fun stuff.
it's the best.
Yeah.
Your phone rarely works. You sit, people serve you drinks, you talk with your friends, you get kind of dressed up, you look at places that are absolutely immaculately beautiful. It's hard to have a bad time wine tasting. Unless you're just a grouchy human, you're going to, and guess what? If you don't like this, don't feel scared. Just say, this is not my thing. Do you have something else like this? They will go get a bottle for you to have a good time. So then every summer it just became, no matter what team I was on, where are we going this summer? And then friends, I was like, hey, what's new? What's good? What is this? What about this place? What about that winemaker? And then we started to spiral down the rabbit hole of wine and the Willamette Valley, and then it became going to Healdsburg and Napa and Italy and went to Portugal. We didn't go wine tasting, but I drank this hotel's, basically drank all the wines from the hotel, which is pretty awesome. France, went to Bordeaux. And so now trips are based around wine countries. Instead of like, oh, I want to go see the Louvre. It's like, yo, let's go to Champagne and Burgundy and then go to Bordeaux. Like then we'll go hit Paris at the end of it, So that's the very fast version of that. But yeah, that's basically, she introduced me to wine, and here we are 17 years later.
Well, it leads us right into chosen family.
Right.
And what it means,
Right.
and what you're doing now. And so,
Bless you.
nope, still that wine.
I know,
Still hanging out. Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I've done enough like watching your socials and
Yeah.
reading and not stalking by any means,
stalk
but
it up.
but at the same time I wanted to understand who you were, what you were doing, why. And so listening to even the Psalm TV podcast that you did with Jason a while ago. He's great. I'm going to interview him on Sunday.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Look at that. But chosen family means something to you, and
Oh, yeah.
it's very special. So let's start there, and then let's move into the wine.
Okay, perfect.
You didn't pour me any, by the way.
Oh, crap.
Jeez, Channing. Choking.
I don't want to be an accomplice.
Yeah, well, you started it, so I'm gonna get it out of my system eventually. It's all good.
All right, so, man. Okay, so it started with, obviously I'm on Cleveland. Kevin had hurt his thumb. We had some I don't want to say turmoil. We had some things going on the team where we weren't very good. And I'd just come back. This is 2019. And I remember I was sitting there and I wasn't very happy because I was just went to NBA Finals 2 years. I got traded at the end of 2018 to the Lakers. I was there 3-4 months. They took out my appendix. I was away from my family. And I said, I just can't do this again. I can't be moving all over the country. I'm 13 years in the league, done. And I'm like, I just can't do it. So I ended up re-signing with Cleveland. We obviously won a chip there, went to the finals twice. The community there is great. The organization there is top notch. I love that city. Ohio to die is amazing.
I'm actually really glad to hear that because I just thought it was a punchline for a bad joke most of the time.
No. Going to Cleveland and being around that, once you go there, if you like sports, if you like being outside, having a good drink, keeping things simple, family oriented, it's the best. It is the sleeper city of the Midwest by far.
Okay,
food is great, drinks are great, people are great. So I go back to that team, and halfway through the season, probably not even halfway, remember I'm sitting in Madison Square Garden, and I look around. I always promised myself I wanted to walk away from basketball and not like have an injury and do whatever. And I literally look around, and I'm looking at the locker room, and I'm going, I'd rather be home right now. Like, I'd rather be with my kids. Like, like, obviously because my parents had died, I was still figuring that out with grief. My trainer who I'd worked with, I didn't tell a lot of people, he's from Portland, Aaron Cowan, worked with him for like 10, 15 years. He had known me when I was like in high school, college. He passed away. So like the whole year was heavy. And I was just like, man, time is going too short for me, not only to take up space on this team, but for me to not be with my kids and family. So I end up saying I'm going to retire randomly. My wife called me crying. I was like, are you being serious? Anyways, yeah. Yes, Lauren, I'm retiring. So the team found out. So Kevin and I, we were like, okay, what are we going to do after we're done? So Kevin was going to obviously play way longer than me. And we started talking about it, like what's important to us. Like obviously wine. We started making up names. We started making up like what our ethos is. Started making up what we eventually want. Are we going to be patient? Do we want to create a brand and then sell it and work for somebody else? And so when I retired, I got with two of our buddies at the time, and we created Chosen Family Wines. The name comes from, when my parents died, for people, I feel like I tell a story all the time, but for people who don't know, 2016, I went to the Cavs. We won a championship, greatest championship ever. And then that summer, had a great summer. Mom was battling cancer. She ended up dying in October 27th. She came back after her funeral like 2 or 3 days later, which I probably shouldn't have at all. Should have just taken care of my dad because he was on the fritz. And then a month later, on Thanksgiving, I got a call from my uncle that my dad had died. So that really sent me
sideways.
Yeah, well, down, like super down, like seriously depressed, like crying in the car, going to practice, like taking eye drops, going to practice, and then just being like, I still talk to a grief therapist today, just still working through things, because I have kids and, them getting married, and now my son is getting big and whatever. So all these things that people don't take into account is like, I'm trying to figure out what is going on in my life. And I just became a hermit, and I'm a very talkative, outgoing, glass half full guy. So I just played video games and sat in my room and drank. And would go to games, go to practice, and I don't even remember really half that season. I barely remember going to the NBA Finals, and I had good games, and I couldn't tell you. Like I could tell you what games I played good in 2007, right when I was here. I can't tell you what happened just because I wasn't even present. So during that year, Kevin and the team started to lift me up, right, get me back. To like this, to regular Channing. So they would, sneaky get a key to my room and like wouldn't let me stay in there. They'd make me go out to dinner. They would, and they all have like, crazy sellers. So they'd be like, hey, Channing, I got this 86 Margaux. Who's going to help me drink it? And I'd be like,
little carrot on a stick.
Yeah, carrot on a stick. Yeah. And, for me, it was everything that they would try to do that. And those are my brothers to this day. And like that, them becoming my family, my boy, Doug, and DB and Matt Brazzi, those guys are like my brothers from college who are still best friends with. They would, I'd be riding in a car crying by myself. So I would call them. So it's 9:00 Eastern. It'd be 6:00 and they would sit and just talk with me about anything so that I wouldn't cry and like not turn the car around and go to practice. Because that happened one time. I was just like, dude, I can't even make it 20 minutes to go to practice. I was like that depressed. And so, wine became like therapy one sip at a time because we'd sit at these long dinners. And now I'm like getting to laugh a little bit. I'm getting a little bit lighter. Grief is heavy. And so it was just a gigantic, heavy brick backpack. And so when we were thinking about names, I remember my wife was like, Shane, just think about your chosen family. And I go, oh, Oh, so that became everything that we were about. When you, and this is really what it is, when you have a bottle of wine, and even this moment here, we're sharing something, whether it's a memory, whether that's doing a podcast. We are, time is precious, and so being able to share this, I just consider this a family. And so you're my chosen family. I chose to drive an hour to be here to do the podcast, and so each time you put a bottle of wine, we wanted that to be with your chosen family, whether that was your real family or not. Didn't matter. And then for us, we also have collaborations, and that's kind of how we started. So the people we collab with, whether that's Granville, Salty Goats, Hazelfern, Longolo, Lingua Franca, they became our chosen family. So we would tell their story as if it was ours, because of not only how proud we are of them, but like the fact that they allowed us to work with their juice, paint with their paint,
Yep.
Use their easel, and to continue to tell a story. Also, it applies to being a part of the Willamette Valley. Like, we're a chosen family, because at the end of the day, when I leave, I represent, when I go to Ohio or Florida or Florida, New York, Texas, I represent the Willamette Valley. So I am part of that chosen family that I choose to be in this industry, to talk about wine, to love wine, to try to get one new wine drinker. I don't care if it's a bottle a year. That's a new wine drinker for us. Somebody that can see this artistry that's being done out here and all over the country, and kind of appreciate it.
Yeah, and wine is one of those things that, kind of has been put on this weird pedestal, and kind of the reason why the podcast is what it is because I want to encourage that person who is intimidated by it, who is afraid by it, who doesn't want to drink red wine because, it's yucky, or, whatever
right.
the case. And that's a perception, or maybe they did have a bad bottle of wine,
Totally,
totally 100%. I was that person. I was
I've
told
had
my
a bad
taste
bottle 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, I had
was
one
like,
the other day too, and
"Ooh."
I'm like, my husband will drink anything, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need to drink this. I don't want to. I'll go grab something else out of my little cellar, But it's the drinkers are out there, and the people that want to enjoy this and they want to enjoy what wine brings to them,
Right.
are out there. You just have to encourage them to step forward.
Right. This is not and I'm not saying what you said is wrong, but too many people look at it as like, oh, this is a drink to get drunk. Right? That's American culture of most drinks.
100%.
This is a story. Most wines, most great wines, good wines. I'll even say good wines to great wines. It's a story about what happened that year, that winemaker's vision for that area, the terroir, the culture. Like, you look around the world and it's like, oh, Pinot Noir goes with salmon. Are there salmon in France? Like, is there salmon in Burgundy? Like, you look at like Spanish food. Spain goes with Spanish food. So like nowadays we have access to so many different types of wine. I try to tell first-time drinkers, what are you eating? You want Mexican food? I was just in Mexico. There are amazing Mexican wines.
They are really growing that industry down there, especially on the Baja side.
Yeah.
Great wines down there. Yeah. And you can drink wine with anything. And I haven't been wine drunk in a really long time. It's just something that you can sip it in.
Luckily it's Friday.
I know. It's a good thing it's Friday and you're here.
Yeah.
But you can drink it with anything. I love the guilty pleasures of the things that aren't supposed to be drank with wine, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Popcorn and Pinot are like two of probably my favorite things to enjoy together. With a little
bit
of
popcorn and Riesling?
Yes.
Amazing.
And like truffle salt on top.
It's
freaking bomb.
Dude,
yes.
I have a book. It's like Burgers and Burgundy. And like a Big Mac and Pinot Noir is crazy.
Somebody just suggested that book to me last week. The
It's
gals
so
that own Mac and Cheese down the street.
Yeah.
It's a cheese tasting shop down the street, and she's like, you have to get the Mac and Cheese or whatever it is book.
Now I know I'm old head, big unk energy here, but like a charcuterie board and some wine, it's okay to open up 2 or 3 bottles of wine. It's okay to like make a night of it and then watch sports. Like it's fun. It's not like not all of them need this
grandeur.
This big theatrical thing. Some of it's like, go to your local wine shop, right? And I'm not saying nothing against grocery stores, but go to the local wine shop, because that guy's going to know every bottle in his shop. You can go, hey, I want to watch the game. I don't want a big headache. We have a cheese board. You know what he's going to say? White or red?
Yep.
What kind of cheese?
Yep.
And he's going to say, then what's your budget? And you may say $100. He said, for $100, I got these 4 wines for you. Here's a $15 rosé from Italy. That's amazing. That has some effervescence. Here goes a $20, Gewürztraminer, right? Or I absolutely butchered the name.
Gewürztraminer?
There we go. There we go.
That was so not even close.
I know, not even
it
close.
It might have been a little bit dyslexic.
But you know what?
A little bit.
I do have dyslexia at times. But, listen, it's epidemic in America.
It's okay. Nobody's judging.
Everyone's judging.
I knew what you were saying.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And then, as a red here, like, let's get you something from Portugal, right? Because those are pretty, or Spain. And, man, there goes your whole night right there for that budget. And you can open all them. And guess what? You can also shut all them, put them in a nice, cool place, and drink them tomorrow, and they be maybe even better. And so I think people are afraid to do those type of things and make wine nights, and that's what we do at my crib. Like, if there's a game on, man, get that charcuterie board fired up, that local honey, get a bunch of cheeses I can't say, obviously, because I have dyslexia now, and then
man, I
let's
gave
get
you a
going.
complex. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm very complex.
Yeah, that's okay. We all are. Yeah, we sit and watch the cows in the afternoon, and it's just a total podunk country boy way of doing evenings. But pour a glass of wine, and go sit on the front porch. It's great, and the rocking chairs. Yeah, it's even better.
I love me a rocking chair.
Yeah. Well, told you I was going to invite you out for dinner one of these days.
You
just got to show. But I haven't invited you yet, so
Okay, exactly.
you haven't no-showed.
It's
so
okay. I'll roll out.
Okay, and I won't make you camp or carry a gun to come to the house here.
Okay, we don't. That's even better.
Yeah,
That's even better.
I'll protect you. You're good.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about your wine.
Yeah.
Because the 2 Pinots that you brought, you said one of them had a story for sure. Right. The one that I've had is absolutely delicious, even though I choked on it. So it had nothing to do with the wine. It was absolutely my inability to swallow like a human correctly. So.
All right, so. The one that's right here is the C&K Select. Funny story, we were thinking of names, and Kevin and I just couldn't think of a name, so we just named it Channing and Kevin. We'll probably end up naming it different. That is only for members. It hasn't been released yet. We have our May 10th pickup party here and actually on the 23rd Street. Weedman Interior Design House, awesome place. They're awesome people. But each year that we have our own vineyards, or that we get grapes from amazing vineyards, we have learned just kind of how to separate them to make it fun. Some of them might be whole clusters. Some of them might be, sedimentary soil. Some of them volcanic soil. So Kevin and I, after I think 2 or 3 years, are really like, how do we poke our hand in the... What happened?
Hey, Mo, will you let her in quick?
Oh.
Sorry. Food's here. People that are on Instagram Live. Snacks here.
I was like, oh, man, did somebody...
No, nobody wrecked or anything.
Oh, it's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Tell Dustin thank you. Yes. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I knew it'd be right in the middle of everything we were doing, so it's totally fine. We've got this.
Yeah. We're good.
Back live. Yeah.
And so that one is pretty personal because that one is different than the rest of the wines that we make, because when we make Temperance Hill or we make our white label or black label. Yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you. It's a group of us. So it's like 6 or 7 opinions that go into it, where this is 3. And Jackson, who our winemaker is such a genius that we can like talk to him about what our style is, what we've been drinking, how we've been, what we would like to see. And can he do that with the wine, with the juice that we have? And so the label is different because this is a picture. These will now be pictures from our phone. That's important to us. That's taking a picture from my mother-in-law. Shout out Julie. And it's just really personal. These wines this year is going to be a little bit, these are bigger, a little chewier. These are wines that would be built for aging. One wine that is my all-time favorite, it's a 2005 Beaufrère.
Always a great wine, though.
Always a great wine.
Yes.
Always a great wine. And they are, that I think really changed my attitude towards wine, because it was like, wait a second. Pinot Noir can last 20, 30 years now in Oregon. And I think I just hadn't had access to it as much now as I do back then. Obviously, Irie makes great wines, and they have wines from the 80s and 90s. So for me, I'm going, how do I make a wine? How do we make a wine that has that ageability, that like is going to hide away somewhere, that's drinking good now, obviously, but then 20, 30 years, you're like, oh man, this is even better. Like, I get it. So this is our version of that. Then the other one is Temperance Hill. I don't know how much people know about Temperance Hill.
It's iconic.
It is iconic. For our little company, our little wine brand, to have access to that, thank you to Jackson, it's huge. I think Temperance Hill is perfect when it comes to Oregon Pinot Noir, because it has all the things that a great Pinot Noir needs, right? Wind, sun, cool, great soil. They take care of it. It's just top to bottom what you would like. It just it defines the definition, right?
Is that what this one is that I just poured?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
You would just say, what is Pinot Noir? You pour that, you go, oh, okay, cool. This is exactly what it is.
It is 100%. Because it's literally the definition of what you would think that an Oregon Pinot would be. But it's always so intriguing to me. And I don't think people that drink Franzia, nothing against Franzia, but it has to taste the same every year. I mean, that's the brand.
We can't do that.
No.
Now, we can stay within parameters of
stay within your style.
But we, somebody who's tasted chosen from the beginning, 18 was a warm year, 19's wet, 20 was smoke, 21 was this wonderful light cherry red fruit thing. 22 was kind of crazy because I thought 22 was perfect, and 23 is a little bit heavier and really, really good. So between 21 and now, it's only gotten better. We'll see what 24s are popping around, but 24 was also pretty solid for us. Great yields. So we'll see how that kind of ends up. But like, you can't make it the same way every year. Like, I can't.
Mother Nature throws a curveball at you every year that helps kind of.
It's ridiculous.
Lead you down a different path.
Because 22, I think, was the year where there was frost.
Yes.
22 was frost, so people were freaking out. And then they had to go to a second bud break that they had never used. And now they're like, oh, crap. Like, this is actually what we want. Like, this is better. And so maybe 20, because of the smoke, it had less. People were just messing with it less. Right? And so now 22, it came out crazy. So again, this is where you nerd out, right? Like, what's happening, what's going on with the world. And so each year we just want to work on three things: be authentic, be fresh, and be true. If we do that, the wine will be great. And we are I don't want to say very hands off, but we are hands off enough where, like, if you do the pruning right, if you have great sites, the wine will speak for itself. And then Jackson obviously is like a brain surgein over there. He's a savage. Speaking
of somebody who is like, it's in the family.
Dude,
starting with his dad.
Yeah.
I spent time with his dad when I was at Linfield, and spending a couple days with Alan Holstein is a whole different thing.
Yeah. Oh, dude, yes. I can spend 2 hours with Jackson and be like, trying to download. I'm like, oh God, no. Like, it's so much information.
It's exhausting.
It is. Like, it's like reading a whole book. But it's, this is the reason why we wanted to work with him and have the honor to work with him is, and him and obviously Ayla also is, dude, he just educates where it's like, I thought I knew. And I love being humbled, especially when it comes to wine, of like, oh, I'm reading a book about wine. Let me get ready to put my nose up. And then it's like, oh, Channing, that little teensy-weensy area, here's a book on this. And I go, oh, dang it, now I'm back to being a rookie. But I love that because there's no cockiness, right? I can't come in here and be like, oh, my wine's the best, because I'm always trying, all these other great places that are making great wines. Obviously Brooks, and I already mentioned Beaufrere, Domaine Drouin, Antiquitera. Like, I mean,
all these little micros. Like, you would be a boutique. Yeah, boutique micro.
Yeah,
yes.
micro.
Yes.
Yeah, anything less than I think 3,000 cases is super micro.
Yes, and I don't think the world that is outside of like the little like bubble that we are here realizes that these micros are making world class wine. They just aren't spending the money. It's like in my world, Geico spends $4 billion a year on insurance, advertising, and marketing and stuff. We as country don't do that, and so it's kind of the same thing. With some of these bigger brands that mostly are outside of Oregon because we don't have the sort of revenue to spend billions in advertising. And so the micros aren't getting near the showcase and the shine that they really deserve because they're making outstanding wine and if you look at the list of the top 10 regions to look at this year in the world. Oh, you saw that too?
I reposted that.
Yes.
That people are visiting, which is great.
Yes. Willamette Valley is number one.
I'm glad
you
brought that
up. So all of my
up.
wine friend snobs that refuse to come to Oregon, you are missing out on the biggest boat since the Titanic, and this one's not going to sink.
Dude, this is, I think for me, in a few years past, I was like, man, tourism needs to pick up so that people can get access to good wine. Because for me, who does more business outside of Oregon than I do in Oregon, is fine, right? I have a presence. We have a presence here, obviously, in Oregon, but like we're bigger in Florida and Ohio and those other states. But to bring people here is part of the journey. It's part of like why we even started Chosen. Because I don't drink Chosen every day. Like this is a gift that I'm drinking these. I haven't drank Temperance Ale since it first got bottled, just to make sure like everything was all good. And I'll try all our wines once every 6 months to see where they're at. And I'm pretty picky, just so I have a memory of like, what does this taste like? How is it growing? What do I need to add next time? Do we need to pick later? And so it's kind of weird how my brain works like that, but I can barely remember my own social security code, like number, not code. There we go. And so it's just been awesome to grow and to see the valley grow. And now I'm getting word from like other places of how many new little hotels are going to start popping up, like boutique, nice big boy hotels that are going to pop up. And there's just so many. I can't wait for people to come visit me because it just gives me an excuse. Like they know, all right, Channing, where are we going? We're only hitting 2 places. Because the 2 places we're going to be there for a long time.
Yep.
That hour and a half mess, not with Channing.
No.
We're going to be there. Put me in a corner and get ready. We pull it up. We're going to drink it all.
I love hearing that because I get calls from friends or people from out of state. They're like, so where do we go when we come? And I'm like, well, what's your vibe?
Yeah.
What's your vibe? Do you want to like actually hang with the winemaker? Do you want to just, someone that just has staff that's there? Do you want an experience? Do you want to walk the vineyard? I mean,
or you just want to get wasted.
Yeah.
There are friends that are
or
like,
you want to
Channing,
get
where
wasted.
can I go get wasted?
Yep.
And just nobody's even going to care. And I go, bing, bang, boom.
Yep.
They just will here. They got an hour and a half. Buy a bottle or 2. It's great. They don't mind. The wine is affordable. It's great. It's for the price, affordable and reasonable, right?
Yes.
Reasonable meaning like for the price, what the wine tastes like.
Yep.
And then there's places that's like you just want to go there. Don't eat before. You're going to go there and then your day is done because you're going to be there all day long.
Yep.
And that is kind of my jam, to just sit somewhere and just talk and absorb knowledge and learn and try different wines and to try barrels and to see how the barrel tastes compared to what the bottle tastes like. And if you can get them close, that's a great winemaker because of the whole process of this thing changing hands and going. And did the vision match the sketch? Did the painting match the sketch?
I've gotten spoiled because of doing this show specifically because I like to go out and hang with people like I did with you.
Yeah.
First, to get to know you. I mean, if you were a jerk and you were just kind of this,
Super jerky.
Arrogant, ass, I would have probably not.
Yeah.
I don't care what your status is. Probably wouldn't have invited you to like schedule because it's not worth it for me to be uncomfortable in my own home, so to speak. But I've now gotten spoiled because I do go out in those places and we're climbing around barrels and we're walking vineyards and, I'm hanging with, the owner or the winemaker or whatever. And so when I go wine tasting, especially with friends, I call ahead and I'm like, is so-and-so going to be there? Because I want to hang with them or at least, make sure they're around to kind of be part of, what we're doing. And that's not normal for everyday people. I do realize that.
When you're in the wine media space, it's our responsibility to have a relationship or some type of thumb on your beat, right? What is that? Foot to the ground or thumb on the beat, right? What do people say?
Sure.
Thumb on the beat, right?
Yeah,
sure, right.
yeah.
Where you,
I'm with
like
you.
have an ear to the ground of like what's really happening out there. And I think, for me, during basketball season, obviously I work in Atlanta, so I've been traveling back and forth, and so I try to stay in contact of like, what's new, what's happening, like how can I help? Excuse me. How can I be a voice, not just for Chosen, but for the Willamette Valley, and make sure that I'm speaking correctly on because I live in Westland, and so I'm like, how can I say what's happening here without having to live here? And so I'm a median for what's happening for a lot of people who want to go wine tasting. Like people send me, more people send me stupid, every day somebody sends me a wine list. What would you get? What would you get? What would you get? And they'd be like, I always go, and they go, okay, no Oregon Pinot Noir this time. And I go, why? It's the best thing on the menu. Like, it's like, dude, there's a 2017 Bethel Heights. Like, get that. Like, it's crazy.
No.
So for me, it's been awesome to do that, but also a good responsibility. It's the same way in responsibility I take about basketball. Like when I tell you about a game, it's not that I just think that this thing is happening. I've already asked my buddies who are coaches, what was your scouting report? Who does what? How are they going to do it? And then what I know, my knowledge comes from what I would have done when I was playing. And then this is like why we do podcasts, why we do wine stuff. It's like what's happening out here and how we can portray that, how we can relay that to people who don't have access to this and get them to come out here and be excited about wine.
Well, it is. And I think, McMinnville is very special. I mean, obviously I'm partial to it because I live here. My office is, right down in the heart of 3rd Street, which is, I don't even know how many wine tasting rooms there are just on 3rd Street right now.
Isn't that 11?
11, 12, 13. There's a new one.
I hate that I sort of knew that.
Yeah. Have you been to all of them?
No.
Nah.
We have looked around for a space. We don't know if we want a vineyard tasting room or a brick and mortar or a pop-up. So over the years, I've looked around, but I think it is between 11 and 15.
Yeah, it's just, it kind of fluctuates. It kind of ebbs and flows depending on kind of where the economy is and, blah, blah, blah. But, you can come to downtown McMinnville, eat amazing food down here. I don't know how many amazing restaurants there are that are,
I was just telling you, dude.
The Bitter Monk is across the street. The Blue Moon has been around for 100 years. You can get a ribeye and a potato for like $20 on Friday nights and cold beer. Probably wine. I don't know. La Rambla. You got Octa reopening. There's Humble Spirit.
It's nice. Everyone goes to Newburgh, but this is obviously a little extra ways.
Yes.
And so
it's worth
this
it.
is where it is worth it.
Yes.
But this is where, and this is my only gripe, is they need a cool, high-end hotel out here somewhere.
Yeah.
That's not as expensive as maybe the other hotels.
Yep.
So I don't know how you get that because our generation, the end millennial, right? So somebody 30 to 45 wants to come out here for a daycation, but they don't want to drive an hour back.
Yeah.
Like they want to come out here, go right there. I want to go wine tasting starting at 11. I'm done at 3. You come walk here. You're probably going to go have a beer because you're lit up. Yeah. You want to have a good dinner. Like when you go to Napa or Paso Robles or Sonoma Coast, you have these options where you stay somewhere and then it's like, okay, we'll leave tomorrow morning. No big deal. But like I can go to my hotel bar and get a Manhattan at the end of the night and be like, I needed this. Yeah. There needs to be more of that or maybe a cool pool because look at this beautiful day. You don't think somebody wants to look over at a pool, tan, over vineyards as somebody's giving them a high-end wine? Stop it. That's my life. I'm an Aperol Spritz guy. I would love for those things to happen and for people to have more access to them.
Yeah.
And it's going to help tourism. It's going to help justify those $75 bottles of wine because you're like, oh, all I'm paying for is my hotel room, a car, and the wine. But when you got to go, wait, I got to drive an hour, come out here, barely sip. You want me to pay $75 to $100 for the wine is good, but I can't really enjoy it like I should. and then I got to drive an hour back, lose my buzz, maybe eat. It's a lot. It's a lot for people. So
I love that whole like chronology of like that.
I have to
timeline.
deal with this all the time. I'm like, dude, guys, go here.
Yeah.
They're like, Channing, I'm not driving 46 minutes to go here. I want to drink. My wife wants to drink. So we have to pay for a car. We got to pay for a babysitter. We got to pay. So there's a lot of paying things when it's like, oh, we could just stay right here, or our kid can come with us, or the car service from this Hotel de la Stars is 10 minutes to 15 different places. It's a lot. It's more convenient. It's more of an experience. And you can charge, if people are paying $450 for a ho-hum wine in Napa, they can pay $75 for these top-notch, world-class wines
Pinots.
here.
Yeah.
It's just the
for sure.
experience has to match. You're not going to go to a barn and drink a $100 bottle of wine. It got to look a certain way for you to justify that. I mean, it's just the truth. It's how people buy it.
It's Yeah, it's the way it's showcased.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I get it. And, yeah, we can go on about this forever because I have all sorts of ideas. And
Totally, yeah, I have a lot of ideas,
especially
too.
kind of living down here. But I want to hit your wines first before we wrap up and kick you back to West Lynn eventually at some point.
No, I got to go film another show in an hour and a half, so I get to eat lunch.
I know. Well, we have lunch here.
What'd you order?
Dustin
Burritos?
with Oreos.
No, I said burritos.
Oh, burritos. I thought you said Oreos. I was like, Psh, Oreos.
Oh, I haven't had Oreo.
No, Dustin.
10 years.
Dustin with biscuits and pickles always does our food. So he brings in snacks. I don't know what he brought today. There was salad. I saw that come in. So
Cool.
who knows what's in the little black bins?
Okay.
But it's always good. So
Okay,
I
I'm
call
not
for
worried. I'm not
snacks, and he
picky.
brings a full blown meal.
Tight.
Yeah, it's great.
$3.99.
Yeah, I know. It's great. I think he's one of my faves. What else are you making besides Pinot? You're doing
So we
a
do
Chardonnay?
Pinot Noir Chardonnay.
Yep.
We have a Napa Cab from Howell Mountain. It's only like 100 cases of that, and we maybe 100, maybe 50, depending on the year. And then we do a Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir. And then we have bubbles. So we have like a 24-month bubbles and then a 5-year bubbles coming out this winter, fall. We were going to release it this summer. We tried it and we're like, we want it to be perfect. And so we're like, let's just push. It's only going to get better. So for us, it's exciting. And then we're still looking around for like one more collaboration. So we're probably, got to go back to New York. Excuse me. So I'm going to go take a day trip to the Finger Lakes. I want to go to Paso this summer.
Ooh, that's great.
Great. I think
Yes. Loved it down there.
I want to also, if we have time, go out to Walla Walla. There's now this is just me. Now, obviously, there's other owners in Chosen who have a say too. But I think for us, I really would like to add a Red Mountain from Washington, Red Mountain Walla Walla, a Cabernet. I think it's one of the most slept on wines in the country, especially for the price. You can get a crazy cab from Washington for like $65 at the store. So that type of juice, and Red Mountain is tiny. Red Mountain is like Ribbon Ridge here.
Yeah.
It's tiny. So getting access to that fruit, and then just like to add another bigger wine or something not Chardonnay to our portfolio. That's fun. Maybe go to Finger Lakes, get a Sauv Blanc or a Riesling. But I got to go try. I got to go meet people, and this is part of the fun part about being Chosen.
It is. It is kind of fun doing those, those R&D trips.
R&D trips.
Yeah, it's all a tax write-off,
Yeah.
and you get to enjoy yourself while
That's
you're
a
doing
tax
it.
write-off. No, it's not.
Yeah. Okay, so if people are going to buy wine from you, where do they find you?
So
do you
we're in
go?
a bunch of stores. Obviously, we have distribution here in Oregon, so we're in mostly like wine shops, wine bars, restaurants, not a lot of grocery stores. And then finally, we are Chosen Family Wines would be the easiest.com, would be by far the easiest. But we do a lot of pop-ups. We are very accessible. There's only like 4 of us.
Yeah.
5 of us. So, go to chosenfamilywines.com, email us. We're on Instagram, Chosen Family Wines. DM us. Like, we get back to you very quickly. We just want to be a little bit more personal than other brands because we don't have our own tasting room. So if you needed to pick it up, I would meet you somewhere to pick up your wine, which I've done many a times. And then also just come when we have tasting things. We always try to find new, fun places to come do tastings with us. So this May 10th, we have Hawaiian food with ourselves. And so we work with
I've
the
been
chef.
looking at that invite, and it's Mother's Day that weekend. So
Mother's Day is Sunday. We're doing it Saturday.
I know, but Sunday apparently I have plans that
Moms need every day, so spoil yourself, treat yourself.
That's such a great way to go with that.
Treat yourself,
Go,
treat
Mom.
yourself, Mom, come on,
So,
but no, the food's gonna be great. We worked with the chef, who is amazing, to like which ones match what, and it just Nani, who's does 1,000 different things for us, is from Hawaii. And for us, we want to show people that Chardonnay and Pinot isn't just salmon.
Yes.
Salmon and pasta. It could go with whatever, and flavor profiles, and just showcase new and amazing restaurants around Portland. So it's been awesome.
It's awesome. I need to speak with the other half, and he hates going to Portland, so it's going to be dragging him to Portland. But it's my day.
Make a daycation.
It's a daycation. I hadn't gone that route for. I'm sure he owes me for something anyway.
Yeah.
So, and it's Mother's Day. So,
exactly.
It's my choice to do whatever I want, right? Yeah. So let's talk about Unannounced super fast, because that's your other project that you are.
Yeah, one of the other projects.
I know you have multiples. We could
too
spend
many
hours, but that one's super fun.
It's super fun, and I think it started with me and my guy Brino. We wanted to hit every single tasting room up in Oregon, and so we said, okay, how are we going to split this up? So we started with obviously Dundee Hills. That was season 1. This season is to Tualatin Valley. So we're hitting up a bunch of different places in Tualatin Valley, and basically it's unannounced, because I walk in somewhere unannounced, ask for 2 wines. Don't tell me what they are. Tell me that they're your favorite or whatever's pouring good right now. They explain it. I ask about their membership. I ask about where they came from. It's a 1-minute clip, just so it's fair for everyone. But it takes me about 20 minutes, and I get to go visit. It's fun, and it gets people to see what the inside of a place is without having to actually walk in. And not every place that what it looks like is what it is. Certain places that look maybe not as bougie on the outside make some crazy good wines on the inside.
So going back to those micro producers that are doing cool shit that you don't know about until you either hear it word of mouth.
Yeah, French wines.
Oh man,
it's wild.
So many of them. The Portuguese wines. I just love all of it.
Love it all.
Yeah. Anything else we should ask about and know before I kick you off my couch?
No. Dude, this has been amazing and fun, and thanks for everybody tuning in, and hopefully we get to do this again. When we get some new wines.
We will absolutely do this again. Maybe we'll go on location somewhere. We'll go up the river.
Okay, we could do
even the Willamette, because we will.
Oh, the Willamette, I can do that. We'll take my pontoon.
I just saw the
cruising on the pontoon. Yeah.
Ooh, yes.
No. The
You're a
jet boats.
hella pontoon captain.
Oh, what? Captain, you don't even need to steer that thing. Yeah. Listen.
We're giving you the title of captain for the pontoon.
Oh, for sure.
It's
the only boat that I will drive.
Yes.
If I can't have a couple sips and drive the pontoon, waves, don't worry about it. We're not capsizing. We just go like this. Bow. Love it. Don't got to worry about it.
We will get you on the jet boat. Oh, God. Not on the Snake. We can do it on the Willamette.
I'm going to need a lot more wine than this, then.
Okay, you can handle the Willamette. It's flat.
Oh, God.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to call Lauren. That's what I'm calling. Lauren. Yes, I'm calling Lauren. So anyhow, Channing, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
For so many different things and so many reasons. And this has been great. I'm sorry I choked on the first wine, but
it's okay. It was so good. It shocked you.
Oh man, it was so great. Yes. So anyhow, thanks for everybody tuning into Wine Crush. This has been an epic episode, as I fully expected to be. Huge thank you to John Adams, our audio guy extraordinaire, Monique, who is always here to run pretty much any errand or do anything I ask her to, because she's rad. And Dustin with Biscuit and Pickles, because the food he drops off is bomb, and I appreciate you all.
Oh, no, and your mom.
Oh, and my mom, who just happened to be over here in her cute little overalls today.
Tight.
So
She's got done gardening.
I have my own audience. Yes. Yeah. Who knew that I was going to have a live peanut gallery here? If you have not shared this podcast with your friends, please do. This obviously is a great one to do that with. And as always, drink some great wine and enjoy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.